Hey everybody, sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but I went ahead and just scheduled a new live, and let me just go ahead and share this with the chat, make sure we get everybody back here. Just 1 second. I'm really sorry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and type in the chat, what were we talking about? Or what was I saying? What was I saying? Because I forgot I was chatting. Here, let's look at these banners. Go ahead and put today's date. We're back. So before I even start this clip, hey observing, what was I saying? What was the last thing you heard? Thanks, Danielle. It says you don't remember? Okay. Well, I was talking about Derek Chauvin last, so I don't know like when it cut out because I stopped paying attention to my phone, but it looks like he had an incident before the George Floyd situation happened with a teenager where he held him down prone for 17 minutes, which is longer than what George Floyd was held down for. And then I started talking about how when I was going through my news feed, it turns out that they had a public viewing of George Floyd's body. I don't know where, but I have a clip about it. It's like 2 or 3 news clips ahead. So I was just gonna wait a little bit to see if like some people would Alcatraz. Really? Alcatraz? Because I was asked about capital punishment and I said that putting them on an island didn't work. So I guess you didn't hear anything about what I said about George Floyd and Derek Chauvin then, right? Alright, so I'll go ahead and play this clip. So yes, this is going to be about Derek Chauvin's past with the police force. Apparently he had another situation where he held, this time, a teenager down prone for 17 minutes. I don't know why we're just finding out about this, but it's courtesy of KARE 11. It's called KARE 11 Investigates. Derek Chauvin held a teenager down prone for 17 minutes. So let's take a look.
Long before Derek Chauvin held George Floyd down for more than 9 minutes, records show he held someone else down for nearly twice that long.
Oh, okay.
These court records say it happened in September 2017. The person held face down with Chauvin's knee on his back, a 14-year-old boy.
The prosecution wanted to use the incident, including body camera footage, as evidence in the Chauvin murder trial, but the judge ruled against it. The jury never heard.
Funny how he ruled against that part, but he didn't rule against showing George Floyd's past arrest to show him being like, you know, messed up on drugs according to the defense. But this they did rule out.
Heard about it, and the video hasn't been released, but the details of what happened are public.
Because it involved a child, the names and even the address have been blacked out in this Minneapolis police report. But it says Derek Chauvin and another officer were responding to a domestic assault report. A mother claiming she'd been assaulted by her 2 teenage children. In his report, Chauvin says the 14-year-old boy, said to be 6'2" and at least 240 pounds, was not complying with directions and displayed active resistance when placed under arrest. So, Chauvin says he applied a neck restraint and then used body weight to pin him to the floor. He says an ambulance was called because of blood coming from the boy's left ear.
But when prosecutors investigated and got a look at that body cam, they said that's not half the story.
In this official filing with the court, prosecutors say 33 seconds after telling him to come out of the room, officers grabbed the boy. Just 8 seconds after first grabbing the child, Chauvin hit him with his flashlight. 2 seconds later, Chauvin grabbed the child's throat, hit him again in the head with his flashlight.
And they knew all of this.
And that's not all. It says Chauvin applied a neck restraint, causing the child to lose consciousness and go to the ground. That's when officers handcuffed him in the prone position, Chauvin's knee on his back. Before long, the boy regained consciousness, complaining he couldn't breathe, while his mother begged Chauvin to get off of him. He didn't, even as the boy was handcuffed, bleeding on the floor. Not for almost 17 minutes, prosecutors say, until, just like in the case of George Floyd, paramedics arrived. Fortunately, in this case, the boy survived. For KARE 11 Investigates, I'm AJ Leg.
And is anything going to be done about that? Or are they just telling us this now so we could feel more helpless and create, you know what I mean? This is the kind of thing that they tell us now just to make people mad, and then who knows, maybe the quote-unquote powers that be, you know, if you're somebody that's into conspiracy theories and stuff like that, you believe that somebody's like pulling the strings or whatever, they could be letting us know just about this just now, just to try to get people riled up and back to protesting and rioting, since the trial ended, you know, the most as best possible it could. But yeah, I'll continue covering anything that has to do with the George Floyd, Derek Chauvin situation, because I have a feeling it's not over. And by the way, Amber Geiger is starting her appeal too. I think I have a clip about that. But let's continue on with this playlist. The next clip is called Woman Killed When Man Lands on Her, Jumping from Downtown San Diego, Structure Identified. And this is courtesy of CBS 8 San Diego. And this is going to be a really serious and sad, emotional situation. So I'll put that banner there for now. And yes, let's push play. Okay, so this is some COVID propaganda. 1 second. Try not to look at the screen. They're trying to talk you into getting the vaccine. Don't do it.
Taylor Colley was part of many of the events that are put on here in the Gaslamp Quarter. Her boss at McFarlane Promotions says that she was more than an employee, she was her person. The memorial grows where people stop to pay tribute to 29-year-old Taylor Colley, who died in a freak accident Sunday night while out on a date in the East Village.
Her dad called me
and told Laurel McFarlane, Taylor's boss, that she was killed. Police say around 7:45 Sunday night, while Taylor was walking, a suicidal man jumped from a parking structure near 10th and J Street and landed on top of her. The man who jumped from the structure was later pronounced dead at a local hospital. Laurel says that Taylor was on a second date with a man that she met online. They'd gone to the zoo earlier that day and then out to dinner.
She was my person.
Laurel owns McFarlane Promotions, an event planning company where Taylor started as a shy intern 8 years ago and then found her voice and moved up to senior event manager.
I just encouraged her and pushed her and things she didn't always want to, but it was incredible to watch this young lady just blossom into this beautiful person.
This is how she left her desk, a framed picture of she and a friend, her rescue dog Stella that she adored, and a proud dog mom sign. Laurel says that Taylor grew up in San Diego, but she moved to Chicago for a short while before coming home last year to live with her dad to take care of him after his surgery.
And it was just her and her dad, but it only takes one person to love you with all your heart.
Laurel says to stay positive during the pandemic, they took a moment each day to say what they were thankful and grateful for. Laurel shared Taylor's list that mentions her family, her friends, her rescue dogs, and her 30th birthday that she dubbed Dirty 30 that she would have celebrated in Temecula this weekend.
She just was loyal, and if you took care of her, she took care of her people.
And now her family and friends want to take care of Taylor's memory.
I just wanted people to know she was just an incredible person. It's kind of not just this tragedy is not define her.
Laurel hopes that she and her friends will celebrate Taylor's Dirty 30 in her honor.
That's sad.
Gatorade Zero.
That's going to be a really sad day. I mean, for those of you who didn't hear that story, so there was a suicide jumper, man, and he basically landed on her. So she was just walking by and was not suspecting anything different from her day, and this man fell on her and he passed away too. So unfortunately there's not going to be any justice in this case. It was one hell of a freak accident that could have been prevented if somebody had gotten him help. unfortunately. Let's watch this next clip. Now, these clips are from today. We've already moved past the clips that I found yesterday. It's called Caught on Video, Hundreds of Small Birds Become Trapped in Montecito. I know that's how everyone says it, but if you speak Spanish like I do, you're tempted to say Montecito. Home's chimney, and that's going to be courtesy of CBS Los Angeles. Here, I'll make it bigger so you can see.
Those are birds, around 1,000 of them, trapped in a Montecito chimney. The Swifts were trying to get out, but were blocked by a gate covering the fireplace, and since they refused to go back out the top, firefighters and animal services had to build a chute system to...
Unfortunately, they didn't show how they got them out, but I'm guessing they went ahead and took the gate off from here, and they let the birds like fly into this net thing, and then maybe they closed it up and got them out of there. Hopefully they closed up or were able to have a solution to keep that from happening again, because that's crazy.
To funnel the birds out the home's back doors. Katie Johnston for CBSN Los Angeles.
See, now Katie Johnston is in Los Angeles. She's everywhere. Alright, so this is the clip that I was telling you all about George Floyd's public viewing. It's called Public Viewing Held for George Floyd, and that's going to be courtesy of 23 ABC News, KERO.
And thousands lined up in Houston today to say goodbye to George Floyd. This as lawmakers are pushing forward with sweeping legislation to overhaul policing in the United States. People lined up in two separate lines inside the church to view the body of Floyd for around 5 seconds before being directed to move on. They were all wearing masks so everyone can stay safe and healthy. ABC's Alex Prescia is in Houston with the latest on Floyd and the proposed changes for law enforcement around the country.
Today, a hometown homegoing for George Floyd. The main road leading up to the Fountain of Praise Church dotted with American flags. The memorial line snaking out the door and around the front lawn. People paying their final respects. Around the country, his killing continues to resonate, sparking a movement for change that grows louder every day. In Washington, D.C., House Democrats took a knee for nearly 9 minutes before introducing a new legislation called the Justice in Policing Act.
It will combat police brutality by requiring body and dashboard cameras, banning chokeholds, no-knock warrants in drug cases, and end racial profiling.
In New York City, Mayor Bill de Blasio vowing to cut funds for the NYPD and use that money for social programs. These protesters saying they want that money to go to housing support, health care, and essential services instead.
I'm not here just to criticize the mayor. That's easy. I'm coming from a place of deep respect. Today, we expect better.
We're going to create a fear-free future where every life is truly protected and respected.
In Minneapolis, the city council has already announced its plans to end the police department, saying decades of police reform have proved that the Minneapolis Police Department cannot be reformed. Council members saying they want to create a new community policing unit. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says he doesn't support that, but adds that an overhaul is needed.
Let me be very clear. We're going after the police union contract.
Meanwhile, Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer who had his knee on Floyd's neck, appeared before a judge via video conference this afternoon. He's facing second-degree murder and second-degree aggravated assault charges. Chauvin's bail was set at $1.25 million.
This memorial service is scheduled to go until about 6 p.m. local time. I can tell you that the governor of Texas stopped by. Also, former Vice President Joe Biden stopped by to visit with the Floyd family this morning. George Floyd will be laid to rest at a private...
Did he say former Vice President Joe Biden? Isn't he our current president?
...private funeral tomorrow.
That was wild. Okay, let's go ahead and continue on to the next clip. Okay, so it's called Scientists Work to Save Platypus. And this is going to be courtesy of WSPA 7 News.
Discover
this
lint.
is an ad. 1 second, please.
Ooh, the milk chocolate.
One of Australia's iconic wild animals is under threat. The platypus has seen its number drop by nearly a third in the last 30 years. CBS's Ian Lee is in London with how scientists plan to save the unusual mammal.
These researchers are fishing to save a species.
7 p.m. First platypus.
The elusive platypus, famed for its bill and webbed feet, is in danger. But this expedition is off to a good start.
So this looks like a platypus we haven't caught before. Yeah, very exciting.
Scientists are taking all sorts of measurements.
To the tip of the tail is 44.
Along with blood and urine samples, they're also checking the platypus's diet.
We kind of scoop up this mush
Ew.
from the platypus's mouth.
The animals are being captured all across eastern Australia in an effort to learn more about why they're dying off.
The platypus is threatened for a number of reasons.
Researchers say cattle have destroyed riverbanks where platypuses build burrows to take shelter. And extreme weather events like wildfires and floods could also be to blame.
I guess this study will really give some indication to how platypus populations will respond to those events.
Fishing for information. So next time, the furry creatures will be easier
it's
to
so
find.
Cute.
Ian Lee,
Look at him go. He's so cute.
CBS News.
I've never seen a platypus in real life, but I think they're adorable, and I hope they get saved. Alright, so let's see. This next one is going to be a really sad, serious situation. It might be a little bit on the graphic side. I'm not too sure if they have a video of it, but it sounds bad. It's going to be called 76-Year-Old Man Kicked in Queens, Police Say, and that's going to be courtesy of CBS New York.
Here's a song about a brawny paper towel.
That's an ad. Let me pause and go back and bring the volume up so we can hear it from the beginning.
Police need help finding this person they say kicked a 76-year-old man in the stomach last week in Queens. Police say he was crossing Queens Boulevard near 71st Avenue and Forest Hills just before 7:30 Friday evening, then kicked the man in his stomach, causing him to fall and hit his head on the ground. The man had cuts on his head and hand but refused medical attention. Anyone with any information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. The phone number is 1-800-577-TIPS.
Absolutely, he needs to be found. That was foul as hell. Alright, so this next story, I've been seeing it, I want to say since last week. It's about a missing woman. Let's take a look. It's called Search Continues for Missing Mother Erica Hernandez, and that's going to be courtesy of KHOU 11.
The search continues today for Erica Hernandez. The Houston mother disappeared on April 17th. And we also have surveillance video of her, and the FBI is now joining the investigation. Family members say that her phone is off, and they are hoping for information.
I'm pretty sure for a fact somebody knows something. She didn't just disappear into thin air.
She was driving a 2020 GMC Black Acadia with an Aggie Mom sticker in the back windshield. The license plate number MKJ3303. Volunteers in Texas.
Alright, so here's the information if anybody knows. The video that they just showed, though, the surveillance video, was her actually going to a family member's house to drop off food, and they said that that was the last time they saw her. So that's not like a video of her like leaving or anything like that. She was actually with family, and then after that she disappeared, unfortunately.
Texas EquiSearch have been looking near Hernandez's home in Sunnyside, but will expand that effort.
So Tim from EquiSearch is on the case, and he can find anybody. If anybody can find her, it's gonna be him. I hope she's okay. Alright, let's continue. I had no idea that the platypus can sting. It looks like a duck. I thought if anything, like, I don't know if you've ever been in the presence of a duck, but if you like put your arm out like this, it'll give you like hickeys, like up your arm. It like bites really hard, but it looks like hickeys. So I was thinking maybe the platypus ended up doing something like that, but like sting, like what does it have, like a stinger, like a bee? How does it sting? That's crazy. Alright, let's continue on. This next one is called Baby Elephant Enjoys Spring Weather at Germany Zoo, and that's going to be courtesy of KHOU 11 again. This is an ad, 1 second. Okay.
It happened.
Before I get carried away. Alright, so this next story is going to be a sad one. Okay, and I left that banner up. That is a cute little baby elephant. Alright, so this next story is serious. And it's called Belton Man Wanted for 2 Counts of Criminal Sexual Conduct with a Minor, Police Say. And this is courtesy of WSPA 7 News.
Happening now, Belton police are asking for your help to find a man accused of a sex crime against a child.
Alright, so this is actually somebody that people need to be on the lookout for. They don't have him in custody at this point.
Daniel Kilgore is charged with 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct.
Even his last name sounds scary. Kilgore. The hell?
With a minor. Officers say he was last seen at his home on Ellison Street yesterday afternoon. If you have any information on Kilgore, you're asked to call Belton Police or Crime Stoppers at 1-888-CRIME-SC.
There's the information. If anybody knows where he's at, please say something. Alright, so last night was a full moon. I don't know if people heard, they call it the pink supermoon, even though it doesn't turn pink. I really wish they would stop that. I don't know if that's something that they came up with a long time ago and we just have to stick to it or what's up, but sometimes they call these moons like strawberry moon and like all this stuff, and you think like something totally different. The moon looks the same, it's just like closer, looks probably bigger. But last night was the pink supermoon, so let's take a look. It's just a 26-second clip. It's called "The Pink Supermoon Lit Up the Skylines Around the World," and that's going to be courtesy of KHOU 11, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom up into it. So after this ad, before they knock my shit off, let me make this big. Alright, so this is the supermoon lit up skylines in Turkey and Australia on Monday. It occurs when the full moon is closest to Earth. According to NASA, the supermoon is known as a pink moon and was named after pink phlox that grows in the eastern United States. According to NASA, and I know I didn't make it big, my bad you guys. I got caught up reading the description of it. But, I mean, you saw it, right? You were able to see it. If not, I could try to find it again if you really want to see it again. So let's look at this next story. It's called Island Lake Woman Convicted in Revenge Porn Case from 2016. This was a crazy story. I went ahead and saw it because I was kind of enthralled into it. This is going to be courtesy of CBS Chicago. If y'all want to see that moon, let me know. I'll play it again.
A Northern Illinois woman was found guilty in a revenge porn case. The Chicago Tribune reports 43-year-old Bethany Austin of Island Lake found revealing photos of another woman that were sent to her fiancé. So she canceled their wedding, then sent the sexually explicit photos to family and friends.
Did you hear that? So it's about a woman who, I guess, went through her fiancé's phone and found messages from another woman, and the messages were pictures that were inappropriate, and the fiance canceled the wedding and then grabbed those pictures and sent them to family and friends and told people that that's the reason why the wedding was canceled. And then obviously the victim, the quote-unquote victim, pressed charges, and this is what happened after that.
Austin says she shared the photos with a letter explaining the situation after her ex called her, quote, crazy. She was found guilty of felony non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images. Katie Chalmston.
That's crazy. You definitely don't do that. And I was even asking myself whenever I saw that clip, I said, what difference would it have made if she would have taken the time to like maybe blur out certain areas and still send the photos out? Like if she really wanted to shame the guy and the girl, you know, just, I mean, you don't really have to like distribute the unedited version, you know what I mean? She went all the way by showing everything, but I'm not too sure how that would have made a difference if not. let's see. I don't think there'll be any updates on that one. If there is, I mean, hopefully I'll find it. So I'm not going to show this clip. It's called Terrell Resident Instant Millionaire After Claiming 2.5 million Texas Lotto Ticket. I put it there because I want to say that in the past week, this is the second time a $20 scratch it ticket got like $1 million payoff. So I just thought I'd bring that to people's attention. Alright, so the next clip is called Deputies Searching for Suspect After 40-Year-Old Man Shot in Hip During Road Rage Incident. Okay, so this is out of Houston. It's courtesy of KPRC2 Click to Houston. And I saw the surveillance video first, but it didn't have any commentary on it. And then I found this video and it did. So I'm going to show this one.
All right, developing this afternoon, new surveillance video released of a man law enforcement officer.
Okay, so in the surveillance video that I saw, it was obviously going to be a little bit longer. So this truck was parked like over here next to this car. And he needed to get out, so he backed up, and then over here there's a little black car, and this truck got really close, but you could tell he didn't hit the car. He did get really, really close, and that upset the person in the car.
Are looking for in a shooting in Northeast Harris County. This video shows the man police need your help identifying right there. Harris County Constable Mark Herman with Precinct 4 is hoping that someone will come.
So he walked up, he was getting ready to tell the dude something. It looked like he was cooling down, you know, I could tell he was upset, but he didn't let it go.
Forward with that needed information.
He goes into his vehicle.
The shooting stemmed from a road rage incident that had happened yesterday afternoon just before 4 o'clock at a convenience store on Stagewood Drive and Keswick Drive. KPRC2's Kathy Hernandez reports on how this all started.
Good afternoon. This story is very alarming because it appears the shooter only got upset because the victim backed up too close to his car. Take a look at this surveillance video caught at the 7 Days food store on Keswick Drive just before 4 yesterday afternoon. The victim, 40-year-old Jose Gutierrez, is in a white pickup truck. As he backs out of the parking space, the black Toyota Avalon is parked at the gas pumps behind him. As Gutierrez leaves, the driver of the Avalon walks up to his truck, and then they get into an argument.
Yeah, it appears that when he backed up, that he came too close to this guy's vehicle. That the guy was upset that he, almost ran into his vehicle. He never did strike the vehicle. The guy was clearly, as you saw in the video, trying to leave the location, and he did. But I guess the suspect took exception to that.
Constable Herman says it wasn't over. The shooter jumped into his car, followed Gutierrez home to Stagewood Drive in Humble, and fired into the victim's truck. A bullet hit Gutierrez in the hip. The constable says the victim will undergo surgery this evening. If you recognize the man in that surveillance video, please call authorities.
Yeah, that's fucked up. He really should have just let it go. I mean, how'd I say it? I've been in situations too where like there've been close calls and people get pissed, and I'm like, dude, nothing happened. Calm down. It's gonna be okay. But yeah, I hope they find him though, because that's fucked up. He shot the man in the hip. And he's getting surgery tonight. This next clip, so I don't know if you were here earlier. At this point, I'm not even sure if it was this live stream or the last one, but I was mentioning that Amber Geiger has started her appeal process. So let's take a look at this clip. It's called Court to Hear Amber Geiger Appeal Murder Charge and Death of Botham Jean, and that's going to be courtesy of CBSDFW. Here's this isn't an ad, this looks like a survey. 1 second.
It's been more than a year since former Dallas police officer Amber Geiger was convicted of murder. But now her attorneys will go before an appeals court to try to have that conviction overturned. Nicole Jacobs is live in Dallas this morning with a breakdown of what we can expect in just a few hours. Nicole.
Karen, a panel of 3 appellate court judges will hear Amber Geiger's attorneys on the basis of whether or not they believe her murder conviction should be thrown out. And their voice, of course, is yes, they believe it should be thrown out. We learned last week that those arguments could likely be based on mistake of fact.
His arguments have to do with the mistake, Amber Geiger going mistakenly into
Botham Jean's apartment, and he believes his legal argument is a mistake of fact was made. That's what the facts show, and that under those facts, the only verdict, if there were a guilty verdict, could come down to be for the negligent homicide.
What do you want?
Attorney Toby Shook did represent Geiger in her murder trial, but he is not involved in the appeal today. He says she should have never been charged with murder, but adds statistically felonies are not reversed. A jury found the former Dallas police officer guilty of killing Botham Jean back in 2018 when she mistook his apartment for hers and thought he was an intruder. Taking a look back at videos seen around the world.
Right, he was an intruder. He was sitting on his recliner eating ice cream. Even if he was an intruder, he wasn't an immediate threat, but that's not even here or there because he was in his own apartment, if you all recall.
This moment when John's younger brother Brant embraced and forgave the convicted murderer at her sentencing. It was here where the family's healing was set to begin. But in an interview last month, John's sister said this appeal is a setback to the family moving forward.
It shows to me how Amber Geiger has just not been remorseful in killing both of them. Yes, everyone says, you know, the next step after a conviction is for that person to file an appeal. But it's also optional. She could have chosen to not go through with that appeal if she felt remorseful for killing both of them.
And the hearing is set for 1 o'clock today, but the actual decision won't come down until a later date.
All right, well, we're definitely going to follow that to see what they end up doing with her situation. I feel like they are going to end up giving her more lenience. I mean, I'm not too sure what the appeal is, if it's to overturn like the verdict. I didn't catch that part, but obviously she's trying to get out sooner than later, and the family's right. If she was remorseful of that, she would do her time and like a big girl, and you know, pay her debt to society. And even then, she didn't get enough for murdering somebody in their own apartment, sitting on their recliner eating ice cream. But we will follow that. Sorry, my voice is starting to like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's going away, but it's changing a little bit. So this next video is about the little boy that I reported on. I want to say maybe, what's today? Tuesday? I think yesterday, because over the weekend was his birthday party and he was shot and murdered there. And this clip is called "Reward for Information in Boy Shooting, Death Increases to $25,000. And that's going to be courtesy of WPLG Local 10. And remember,
the reward
these are
has
from
increased
today.
now after a toddler tragedy over the weekend. That 3-year-old little boy shot and killed on his own birthday at his party over the weekend.
Police are looking for multiple shooters as the community comes together to call for an end to gun violence. Let's go now to Local 10 News reporter Joseph Ojo.
He's live right now at the scene in Northeast Miami-Dade with the very latest on this investigation. Are they any closer to finding this gunman?
Well, Christy, at this time, they're still looking for that shooter or the shooters who are responsible for taking the life of little 3-year-old Elijah LaFrance. But also, right now, that reward, as you mentioned, is now $15,000. But I want to also point out that moments ago, I just spoke with the cousin of little Elijah France, and he showed us $10,000 in cash that he is willing to give to the person who comes forward with information.
Community members calling for an end to gun violence.
They're dying one bullet at a damn time. Stop killing our kids.
And a change to the culture around so-called snitching.
We kings, we queens. When we gonna start acting like it? Don't tell me no white man is killing us. It's us killing us. Yes.
The group speaking out, moved by the death of 3-year-old Elijah LaFrance.
Yes, we should hold individuals accountable, but yes, we have to hold our politicians and our county accountable as well.
What makes a 14 or 15 or 16-year-old shooter think they don't have a life worth living is because we, as a community, have failed them.
On Monday, the group met in front of the Northeast Miami-Dade home where shots were fired. Police say on Saturday night, when adults were cleaning up after Elijah's birthday party, multiple shooters showed up and fired at least 60 rounds from semi-automatic guns. Little Elijah was hit as he stood in the doorway.
This was not something that was just a drive-by. This was an intended attack on the people or someone that was at this residence.
Miami-Dade police now pledging their time and resources while asking the community to step up. The mother of 7-year-old Alana Washington, who was gunned down last year, knows how the right information can lead to justice.
We got arrested because see something, say something works.
And so a 21-year-old woman was also injured in that shooting. She is said to be in stable condition. Once again, that reward for anyone who comes forward with information about this shooting, that reward $15,000 by police. But also moments ago, as I mentioned, I talked with a cousin of Elijah LaFrance. He says he has $10,000 for anyone who comes forward with information. If you have any information, give Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers a call. That number is 305-4716.
Okay, that was that clip, an update of the shooting at the birthday party over the weekend. And it looks like we're down to our last 6 clips here. This next one is called Tons of Dust Fall on Earth Every Year from Space. This is one of like my, science-y type clips that I found. And this is going to be courtesy of Fox 13 Tampa Bay. After this ad. 1 second.
It is. We'll get to that in just a second. But every year, obviously, our planet encounters comets. We encounter asteroids, and you get those little shooting stars. Is that the particles and the dust work their way into Earth? But what you don't realize is that by the end of the year, 5,200 tons of these dust particles, micrometeorites, we're going to call them, actually reach the ground in the form of, they're very almost microscopic. They're micrometers. They're incredibly small. And scientists knew this was happening, but they said, how do we measure this? So they had to find a place that was void of really any precipitation or any terrestrial dust. So they went to Antarctica, and they were able to, on 6 different missions, measure this. And the particles range from 30 to 200 micrometers, and they were able to deduce that works out to about 5,200 tons per year, or I did the math on this, Russell, you're talking about 10 million pounds or more of space dust each year. But if you think about it, this is very valuable to Earth because some of those dust particles supply water and carbon type molecules to the Earth as well.
So this is a good thing.
So you don't I think it's a good thing.
Okay.
We, of course, we see the ones the bigger ones.
Yeah, we were just seeing the video of it.
But what you don't get is the micro part of it and the 10 million pounds of dust, some of that carrying life with it. So that is
some of that carrying life with it. So the aliens could already be here in little particles. That's crazy. Okay, so I want to say this next one, yes, is an update about Jocelyn Adams, and she was the little girl that was shot while sitting at the McDonald's driveway with her, or drive-through with her father. It's called Police Questioning Second Suspect in Murder of 7-year-old Jocelyn Adams, and that's going to be courtesy of CBS Chicago.
Police are now questioning someone in the shooting death of a 7-year-old girl. You may remember her, Jocelyn Adams. Here she is. She was shot in the parking lot of a West Side McDonald's. This was just over a week ago. Her father was also shot. He survived. Last night, Chicago SWAT teams showed up in Lawndale at 15th and Springfield, where they picked up a man for questioning. Now, the first suspect, 18-year-old Marion Lewis, was arrested last Thursday. Officers shot then nabbed Lewis after a chase on the Eisenhower, where he tried carjacking a family. He's now facing a total of 19 felony charges. He's being held without bond.
He needs to be stopped.
Our friends at
That's already crazy. He already, shot and killed a 7-year-old girl, and he was already in the process of another crime. It's insane. But if I find any more updates about Jocelyn, I'll definitely bring them over. The next clip is called, we're down to our last 3 clips. They're all about 2 minutes long. It's called True Crime Tuesdays 2020's Jane Doe found in Lynn County, and that's going to be courtesy of Coin 6. That's KOIN 6.
Our friends at Murder in the Rain podcast are hoping you can help identify a Jane Doe found in rural Lynn County.
Good morning and welcome back to True Crime Tuesday. Today I'll be telling the story of a Jane Doe discovered in Lynn County, Oregon. Lynn County is located about an hour south of Portland, home to Corvallis, Sweet Home, and a Jane Doe that was discovered there last year. On April 3rd of 2020, the partially skeletonized remains of a middle-aged woman were discovered on a dirt road off Santiam Highway, part of Highway 20 in the National Forest. The woman who was found is believed to have died between April of 2019 and February of 2020. She did not have any personal effects on her when she was discovered. Officials believe she was between 30 and 50 years old at the time of her death. She had short, wavy brown hair and was found wearing an extra small purple Apana athletic jacket, an extra small green cami, a gray Victoria's Secret sports bra, size 6 Wrangler jeans, a black bandana, and black Steve Madden boots in a 9.5. While her cause of death has not been determined, it is believed she died due to homicidal violence. Please take a look at the sketch and the clothing she was wearing to see if you recognize anything.
If someone recognizes the clothing or has information about this case, where should they reach out?
If you think you may know anything about this Jane Doe located in Lynn County, please call Detective Colin Pyle at the Lynn County Sheriff's Office at 541-967-3950.
We'll see you next week for another True Crime Tuesday here on AM Extra.
All right, thanks, ladies. For more Murder in the Rain, you can follow them on social media and listen to their investigations wherever you stream your podcast. And tune in to AM Extra every Tuesday morning.
That's pretty cool. Maybe I should have a podcast like that, a true crime podcast. Okay, let's see. This next video, actually, we just saw an update on that. So we have one more. It's called Unidentified Object Caught on Camera Flying Close to SpaceX Capsule. And that's going to be courtesy of Good Morning America. And that'll be it for today.
Jamie Foxx and his...
1 second. This is an ad. Can't skip it. And yes. Awkward moments. Just kidding. 1 second.
We're going to move on out of that mysterious close encounter.
You know what? Observing, I thought about maybe having a podcast called like True Wine and Crime Time, or like how was it? Like True Crime and Wine Time. Something kind of catchy like that. I'm not too sure, but yeah, they always have like these interesting like names for their podcasts. Watch, it's probably going to be taken already with my luck.
Move on out of that mysterious close encounter. This object you see here was caught on camera flying past the SpaceX rocket just minutes after liftoff last week. Transportation correspondent Gio Benitez is tracking the story. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, George, good morning. Yeah, the internet lighting up with questions over this video. Did the object come from the rocket or from somewhere else? This morning, some possible answers.
This morning, a potential close call caught on camera. A mysterious object captured on tape flying very close to the SpaceX Crew Dragon with 4 astronauts on board.
Mission and liftoff.
Take a look at this video. Just 12 minutes after the astronauts left planet Earth Friday morning, part of the Falcon 9 rocket separates from the Dragon. That's when some kind of object flies between the two. Take a closer look in slow motion. But what exactly was that object seen early in the flight? Sources telling us it appears to be ice from the liquid oxygen in that rocket. But this morning, no official confirmation on what it was.
The thing that makes me think that that is just most likely a piece of ice is that it happened right at the time where they were inserted into orbit.
Lots of hugs and smiles right now.
In the end, the astronauts arriving safely at the International Space Station over the weekend to begin their 6 months of research.
And back here live at the Intrepid Museum in New York, we've got the Space Shuttle Enterprise right behind me. This actually played a huge role in understanding ice buildup during the shuttle days. Now this video may do the same, and SpaceX will likely look at it frame by frame, Robin.
Sounds good. All right, Gio, thank you.
I mean, what could it be, though? It just looked like a rock. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a creature. Or, hi, Princess Alana. Thank you so much for coming back, but actually we just saw the last clip. Sorry. yeah, that was the news from the past couple of days, well, yesterday and today. I am not sure if anybody's going live observing. Are you going to go live? Are you going to game a little today? I haven't heard from anybody else yet, so I'm not too sure. Maybe we could like meet up somewhere. I can go ahead and drop like observing stuff's links and Crowned Empress. That way, you know, we could try to meet up later, maybe somewhere. Just give me a moment. I have these all like ready to go. Where are you? Observing stuff is right here. So if anybody who like isn't already subscribed, you're gonna go live in 30 minutes. Awesome. Maybe that's cool. Here's the link. So anybody who wants to watch some interesting gaming going on, we'll be at observing stuff later. Maybe Crown Empress will go live today. Maybe not too sure. But I'm pretty sure she'll let everybody know on her community tab, or maybe like setting up a you know, premiering a live. I'm not too sure what's gonna happen. Not premiering, but scheduling. Just keep an eye out. But yeah, that's gonna be the show for today, everybody. And I will keep an eye out for some news stories. If you have a way to contact me through DMs or whatever, you got an idea, go ahead and let me know. Or another way to contact me, if like I'm not live and you think of something that I should cover, you could always go to the comment section of my past lives. I look at the comments regularly, so I can keep up with that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Thank you, everyone. I hope to see you all soon. I'll try to come back maybe tomorrow. So everybody have a good rest of the day. Thank you.